What's going on, guys? It's your hobby, David St. Clair Speaks, and you are now tuned in to the St. Clair Speaks Show.
You are now tuned in to the St. Clair Speaks Show.
Welcome back to the St. Clair Speaks Show podcast. I'm your host, your hobby St. Clair. Guys, I am so excited for this interview. Can't you tell? I am sitting down with co-founder of Hivemind CRM, business and automation platform. I'm sitting down with Daniel Martinez. This guy he is changing the game. Changing the game in automation, changing the game in real estate. And if you've seen some of my content in the past, you know I kind of like dabble in and out of automation, and I talk about real estate a lot. This is just a blessing from the universe. Daniel, I want to welcome you onto the show. Please give our listeners a 3 to 5 minute introduction on yourself, your brand, your business, and what brings you onto the podcast.
Sure, man. So my name is Daniel Martinez. I'm originally from Chicago. I moved to Atlanta for 6 years, and now I live in Southern California. How I got into entrepreneurship, I just turned 30 this year, so everybody thinks I'm an old fart, even though I got gray hair. See, I got a lot of gray hair. It's hereditary. But I got into business 4.5 years ago. I actually am originally, I used to do trucking. I used to load trucks, forklift driver, got into trucking, actually worked for a company for 2 years. I actually started my own company. My first thing in business was on trucking in general. Started a trucking company, got up to 5 trucks. We did like $500,000 in revenue. Got out of that, started doing real estate, fell into data and software. And now that's all I do is data, software, real estate. And then just helping people automate their business. We help a lot of people just make more money. That's been the goal, man. We've really came a long way through business. And this has been my favorite business so far, and just really helping people accelerate and automate their back end, because a lot of people, they struggle with their task in general of business, and it shouldn't be that way. With Hivemind, not just trying to pitch Hivemind, but Hivemind's dope, and it's really, I've used it in like 3 of my businesses right now, and it's really helped me like control, manage, and just do what I love versus having to do everything. So it's really been a journey for me, and I'm excited to be here and excited to contribute to the podcast in the world.
Man, look at you being all modest. Look, I want to dive right into the sauce, okay? So you literally went from $1 million industry in trucking to $1 million industry in what you're doing in real estate and automation. What was that transition like for you? What made you say, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. This is what I want to do full time, and I want to commit to it.
I don't know if I can cuss here, but I lost my ass, man. I lost my ass. So trucking and this is where I didn't know anything about business. So business, you have a profit margin. So there's publicly traded companies like FedEx, UPS, Old Dominion, Saia. All these companies operate off of 3% profit margin or less, usually in the trucking space. If you think about it, that's crazy. So every dollar they make, they spend over 95 cents of it. It's insane for business operation, everything, equipment, everything. So when you start a company like that, I was at like 10%. So you really gotta work or have people work for you, and 10% is on paper. Like, stuff can go wrong. I had a maintenance bill of $7,000. My insurance at one point was $10,000 a month. Like this thing was insane. Like literally spending money everywhere, from employees, fuel, equipment to maintenance. Like it was nuts. So I literally lost $100,000 doing that business over 2 years. So I was transitioning into something else that had a better profit margin, because I knew I enjoyed business. I enjoyed the time freedom of business, but trucking was not it. So eventually fell into real estate, and then I was doing real estate for a year, just fell into data, and then I did software. So I'm kind of like real estate, data, then software, and it's kind of been that road where it was real estate kind of opened my eyes to the possibilities, and then I kind of fell into other niches along the way. Where now I kind of do a bunch of different products and services for the real estate industry, and I do real estate too. So it's kind of a cool mix of things.
We were talking a little bit right before we started recording. What I'm also seeing in this industry, and like, it's actually on the verge of, it's kind of like the new thing, like the new kids on the block, right? Real estate, data, software, and all it ties together. And CRMs, there are a lot of competitors out there, right? But I'm seeing a lot of success, and I'm hearing a lot of success. I'm listening to everyone else. Yeah, we run everything through our CRM and boom, boom, boom. That's it. Like, put everything in a pipeline and, delegate out. And when I read up about you, and it's so funny. Again, I told you this before, but I had this marked on my calendar for a reason, because there is something in these CRMs, there's something in these systems that's working for investors.
Oh, yeah.
What are people saying about your services and your products?
So the biggest thing about CRMs is that, like, most small businesses don't use it. Like, they don't use it. Like, we've had clients that come in with spreadsheets, don't even use a piece of paper, pen and paper. Like, if you're doing that type of business, you cannot grow the business that way. You just can't. Like, you can't hire employees and hand your piece of paper to the person that's miles away. You just can't do it. So a CRM is a customer relations management tool. It's supposed to organize and help you do more deals, make more contacts, just to help you do more and organize it. So what's the number one people struggle with in real estate? It's follow-up. It takes 7 to 12 contacts to convert a sale. Like, if you cold call somebody, you might get it, but it's not likely. It's like probably a 5% chance you're gonna get the contract on the first call. It's just not gonna happen. So what do you do after that? You have to follow up. You have to follow up with text, email, direct mail, any way you can, just to make sure you hit that points of contact before they convert. And with real estate, it's all about timing. So whenever that person is ready to sell, you want to be the person that comes to thought, because you've been not necessarily pestering them, but you've been the one on their mind, constantly following up with them. So with follow up, being able to automate, it's just outreach. Hey, make that first contact and just set up a follow up campaign and let it go. The beautiful thing about systems and automation is that now when people are going through the automation loop, as soon as they respond, boom, they pop up right up top. So if you're reaching thousands of people like we do in real estate, whenever somebody essentially responds, calls back, calls you back, or does anything like that, it pops up straight in your system, and now you can follow up with that lead, see all the conversations, you can see any notes you did down for that person, and really rebuild that conversation. Like, you're talking to thousands of people at once and remembering everything and coordinating everything. So it's one of those things where, like, you have to have a CRM. If you're in any type of business, doesn't matter if you're real estate or not, you have to have a CRM, and you have to coordinate your contacts and make sure you follow up with people to get more conversions. It's just the bottom line.
You brought me back to a horror moment. When I first got started in real estate wholesaling, I did not even know what the hell a CRM was. It was literally pen to pad, and it was literally the worst experience, because, as you said, the money's in the follow-up. I was so disorganized, but I'm like, yo, I feel like I was working so hard. And kind of like to reiterate what you're saying, it's working smarter, not harder in the same way, but you're still working hard, right? But you're working smarter, and you're working more efficiently, right? And you're making sure that you touch base with everyone. So it's pretty interesting how much more you could get done with the CRM. And it applies, as you said, this goes beyond real estate, even in podcasting, right? You're a podcast host yourself. You understand the power of the CRM. I use it from time to time to help me stay formatted and organized. But there are times where, life happens, right? Things get out of whack. So it kind of like just pulls you back to kind of like being where you're at. So I want to ask you this. Man, I'm such a nerd for this. Sometimes I gotta remind myself I don't have to be at 100 to ask a question. So I get really, 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 really good for this stuff. Okay, so talk to me about. I want to know more about your product. I want to know, like, is this something that I could use to find properties, or just to do my direct marketing, like SMS calls, postcards? What are some benefits of signing up? I'm not asking for the audience. I'm asking for myself.
Okay. That's the power of podcasting. You ask the questions for yourself. So what I'll add to what you said last time is amplification. It's not necessarily that it's you work less. It just amplifies your time that you do work. So the thing about the CRM is I use it for podcasting, not necessarily a business, but I use it for podcasting. I use it for my data company. I use it for real estate, and I use it for I meant to manage all my clients too, because I'm a software owner. So I manage all my clients through the CRM itself that I give to all my clients. So I can tell people that you can reach out to real estate, because we have clients doing 6-figure months. and I'm managing over 300 clients myself through the CRM, so it can do whatever you need it to do. You just gotta understand how it works. So a lot of people get overwhelmed, and there's two types of people. There's techie people and there's not techie people. If you're not one, you're the other, and you know who you are. The difference is that like everybody's used to using the standard of Podio, and I hate Podio. Like Podio, like the reason why I actually went down the Podio route. I'm like, everybody's using Podio, let me try Podio, and I'm like, oh my, this is like, I'm a techie person, and I struggle with Podio. So like after doing down that road, I came across Hivemind. Started to have the opportunity to create it. Hivemind came about, but the awesome thing about it is that you can text, you can email, you can do websites, you can do webhooks, you can do literally whatever you want to do, you can do it. So like everybody knows Max Maxwell. Max Maxwell, if you follow him a lot, he has what you call the lead conveyor belt. I don't know if you heard of the lead conveyor belt. Have you heard of the lead conveyor belt?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if everybody doesn't know what the lead conveyor belt, and this is all his thing, is you contact people the way they want to be contacted in the cheapest format possible. That way you can convert leads as cheap as possible down the line. So what does that look like? For him, his I think his first one is text. For us, email. How many people, when you skip trace a list, you get emails but never use them? You know how much email costs? Usually free, because you can send emails from Gmail. It's usually free. So with this email, hit everybody with an email. Create a simple email campaign. Add every contact, every email you get to that list goes to email campaign. Why? Because you can automate it. You don't have to worry about it. You just let it go. People open their emails like me. I might not open it, but I'll see every email because I'm deleting each one. I'm the type of person where like I get anxiety when I have 20 emails unread. Like I'm gonna delete them.
Same, same, bro, same.
And then you talk to people like my partner who has 100,000 emails, and every time I see his phone, I see 100,000, and I get anxiety. Like, what the heck are you doing? But for me, like I have to like keep that down to zero. Like if it goes in the spam, it goes in the spam. But if it's in my inbox, I have to delete it. I have to read it, delete it, or save it. It's one of the three. That's it. So emails, incorporating emails is a simple thing. Create a simple campaign. Just let it go. Add everybody's emails to it. Let it go. My first deal I actually did was through email. It's crazy. Like it was a PPC lead, and this is a side note. It was a PPC lead, but I didn't want to talk to the customer because I was new. I was doing PPC. They filled out the form, so I just started emailing them. Boom, boom. 15 emails later, I got a contract, sold it to a buyer, made $6,000 via email. So email works. So you have email, text is the next cheapest. RVMs, cold calling, and then direct mail. So like a lot of land investors, because I'm a land investor space, they go straight to direct mail. They direct mail everybody, send blind offers, all that stuff. Problem with direct mail is you're spending 50 cents a letter, and you can only reach out to so many people. So when you build out a campaign, you can email everybody. You can text everybody pretty cheaply. You can RVM everybody pretty cheaply. So now what the beauty of my system is that the problem with other systems is that all they can do is maybe one thing. You might have one program that does RVMs. You might have one program that does emails. You might have one program that does text. Now you're all over the place, and it's hard to coordinate and make sure all that stuff goes in order. But with Hivemind, you can literally create an email campaign, add everybody to it, text, RVM, cold call over a week span. And then if they don't respond after a couple of contacts or a week or 2 months, whatever, a month, you can send a webhook to your mail company and send direct mail.
Hold on. Okay. You just opened up. I feel like you just knocked down the wall here. So I could run that same strategy for, say, a marketing business or a fitness business. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yo, side note, we got to talk. We got to talk, Daddy. We got to talk. Okay. So, man, that was really good. So marketing, that kind of like answers my question. How are you marketing in 2022? Right? Is that how you're marketing in a way, or there's a little bit more on top of that?
We're doing a couple of different things right now. We just started a couple of different campaigns ourselves personally. So before we were texting a lot, and we just text everybody. I have a bulk data list that I would just text everybody. And we got a free house sub 2 by texting. We got a 5,000 square foot house. It was like a 5-bed, 9-bath house in San Antonio through this list. Just texting. So right now we're doing texting. I hate cold calling, and we hate managing cold callers. So we have a cold call company cold calling for us. And we're doing PPC right now as well. And that's all ran through Hivemind. So we have a Hivemind website coordinated. It comes into the system. They get text immediately whenever a lead comes in. And we're doing PPC right now. And we just started doing direct mail as well. So we're kind of doing we're trying a bunch of different other services to see if we can combine it all to make something better. But we kind of use the versions of each one. So we use different lead generators inbound to our system, and then we use the system follow-up system behind it once it comes in.
And I love to hear what's working for other investors. I love to hear this. And like, this is, for me, this is, again, it's so close to home for me. I am so intrigued by this because I want to know, like, what's your professional take on automation? Like, where do you see business automation in 2052?
Man, I don't even know, because I think the forms of marketing might change. Because one thing that's tried and true, and I'll take this probably to my grave, is that direct mail is never going to go away. Texting may go away, cold calling may go away, emailing may go away. Who knows? But direct mail, like, there's always going to be a physical address, a physical forwarding address. That's always going to be there. So I think direct mail is always going to. If you understand that, you can probably take that to the next flip of marketing, whatever that is. But it's just, I mean, it could be marketing in the metaverse. I have no idea. There's really no you can buy like a billboard in the metaverse. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but there's always gonna be somebody marketing, because that's how people get more business. So there's gonna be some form of marketing out there, and you just have to leverage it.
And that is, meta universe. That is a story for another day. Yeah. So I want to ask you, wholesaling real estate, right? What is, got to play devil's advocate here. What is wholesaling real estate, and how can someone get started?
Easy ways to get started is, don't get overwhelmed and learn. I think the big number one is understand what you're doing, because systems and tools will come, but if you don't understand what you're doing, you're going to go out real quick, because you might be paying for stuff and you might not have the budget to pay for stuff. So like, everybody's like, oh, you need this and this to succeed. I'm like, you might not need that. You can go off the free products. So free products, what you can use free products: driving for dollars. Write down take pictures of properties when you're driving by. You can do that with your phone. You don't have to pay for driving for dollars. You don't have to pay for deal machine. You don't have to pay for none of that. Just start writing stuff down and doing what you can for free, because the fastest way to get out of business is spend all your marketing dollars and be stuck at zero and you're in debt. That's just the fastest way to go out of business. So do everything you can for free. You can skip trace for free. You can do all that stuff for free. So it comes down to time, money, knowledge. Everybody that wants to get in wholesaling, make sure you get the knowledge. But then it comes down to time or money. So some people have good paying 9-to-5s where they can afford to do other things and pay for because they have the money. Other people might have the time but not the money, so have to do stuff the free way because they have time to do it and not the money. So it's weighing out the different things. So one of my clients is a 22-year-old, still works a full-time job, roofer. I think he sells roofing. He doesn't actually do the roofs, but he sells it. Came into our system. He's like, I have money but no time. Okay, money. Well, what do you do? What do you do if you have money and less time? Well, we brought him inbound leads. So we have a PPC campaign we call Hive leads that we're just ramping up right now. He's been with it 6 months, done 10 deals in 6 months with a full-time job as a roofer using our PPC setup called Hive leads.
Nice.
What's the other side look like? Well, I have more time, less money. You use the free roofers. So you drive for dollars. Drive for dollars is the best list you're going to get, just because you can visually see it's in disrepair. So drive for dollars, Google Voice, and what's the other one? True People Search. Skip trace, call, and find the leads yourself. All for free. It's going to cost you gas money. That's about it, and time. So it comes down to if you have time or money.
Would you say, is it better to JV up on like deals like that? Work with someone that's more experienced, or go to solo route, so this way you get your feet wet?
I'm a big I'm a big user of JVs just because you got to pay to play sometimes, and you're gonna pay usually in JV deals till you learn, but you'll learn a lot quicker by doing JV deals. It might help you lose. It might help you from preventing losing a deal. It might help you from learn something while you're doing it. So I'm 100% for JVs. Yes, you might have to give up 50% of the deal. You might have to give up $10,000 of a deal where you might have overpaid somebody, but you acquired the knowledge. Now you don't have to use that person again per se, if you didn't know what you're doing. So my partner, he had his first contract. This is his story. His first contract, he's like, I have this deal, put it on the Facebook group. And somebody messaged him, hey, take that off the Facebook group. I'm gonna buy that deal. He's like, all right, delete it. How much are you gonna give me for it? He's like, how much you want for the deal? He's like, I don't know, whatever's fair. So the dude's like, I'll give you $5,000 for it. Like, all right. So the dude paid $5,000. I think it was like 35 to $5,000 for the deal. But the guy has been mentoring my partner for 3 years because he made $50,000 off that deal. So now that was like his high ticket mastermind. He paid for that by giving a deal to somebody. And now he's made he's almost made over $500,000 off of the knowledge he's acquired from that one person.
That is pretty interesting. Yeah, so JV is definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go. It's good that you mentioned that, because my first deal closed on a JV. I was stuck. You know, I'm here. I live in New York. Our first deal was a condo in Atlanta, Georgia. I needed boots on the ground. That was the other thing. This was during the pandemic, right? Where,
Nice.
you need boots on the ground, virtual, the recession-proof, virtual wholesaling, whatever. And I got on this app, Clubhouse. I got on Clubhouse in one of those real estate rooms, just networking. Hey, I got this deal I'm working on. I've been stuck with it for a while. So told someone about it. They helped me get it done. A couple weeks done, boom. And like you said, do the 50-50 split. But I learned a lot. There's a lot that you could also learn from the partnership. So that kind of like leads me to, maybe this is a general question. What are some benefits to having a business partner or working with a business partner?
I am a big fan of it, and it's not for everybody. So you always have to find somebody that has your strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, you as an individual have to know what your strengths are and have to know what your weaknesses are. Then if you partner, make sure you partner with somebody that has the opposite of you. The reason why I say that is because if you have similar strengths, you're going to conflict because you both have the same strengths. So you're always going to think one of the other person is right. So one thing me and my partner have is he is 0 systems, 100% negotiation, whereas I'm 100% systems and 0. I can do negotiation, but I don't want to. So it's down to what are you good at and what are they good at, and it's compatibility. So you don't have to partner with people to do business. That is 100% a fallacy. You can do this by yourself and hire everybody out. So there's a book called Traction. It's a book called Traction. I don't read very many books, but I read that book. But it's about finding your weaknesses and compatibility with other people. So it's a visionary and integrator. So if you are a visionary, you can hire out an integrator or partner with them, but they always have to make sure they're high paid, because it's a very demanding job to be an integrator, because you're essentially running the back end. And a lot of people think, well, I run the whole business and he does nothing. Well, they do their own thing as far as talking, sales. It might be a lot of other strengths that you're not good at. So understanding your partner and what their strengths and weaknesses are is 100% the thing. But it's just a lot of partnerships fail because they have conflicting strengths where they're the same.
Yeah,
and that's just
I was going to add strong personalities, ego. There's a lot of things that could kind of like derail a really good partnership, things to avoid. So, yeah, that's a good question. So I want to ask you, you're a podcaster, you're a podcast host yourself, Hive with Us podcast. Can you tell us a little bit more about your podcast show, the content that you're pushing out? And I also got to give you credit, man, because correct me if I'm wrong, you did over 190 episodes within 9 months. Tell us a little bit more about that.
It's been an interesting journey. So a lot of it. Okay, so my biggest I'll tell you where the podcast started. So yeah, we did episode, let's say Tuesdays, episode 202 released today. We started September 2021. It's now June 14th. So it's been 9 months, 202 episodes. It's been hard. And the reason it's been crazy too, but it's been crazy good. So where it all started is I reached out to Bigger Pockets to advertise with them, and they're like, it's $10,000 for a 3-month commitment. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm just gonna build my own. So my whole thought process was Bigger Pockets, their main show is like almost 700 episodes, but they've been doing it for 10 years. So I'm like, let's be intentional. Let's do it on purpose. But I'm gonna try and do 5 episodes a week for as long as I can, because if I do that for a full year, that's like 200 episodes, 250 episodes a year. I can do that in 4 years versus 10. But it's not off the work of my back, because then you can hire hosts. So what's the benefit you provide the hosts? Well, you give them, I think podcasting as a general is that there's a couple things you get from podcasting. You get confirmation of you yourself as a individual, because you're providing content. You get education, because you get to ask intentional questions to your guests who are smarter than you. Number 3 is you get SEO, which is online ranking, and then there's a bunch of benefits you get from that too. But having the time to do it. So one of the cool things about podcasting is it kind of became a passion project for me. I was kind of doing it at first just to kind of help brand stability and help grow the brand organically, and now it's I've really enjoyed doing it, and it's become more of a passion project for me, and it's more providing good education. I don't like shorter shows, so all my shows are like 45 minutes to an hour. Um, and I brought in co-hosts to help me produce content. We're doing stuff in Spanish. I have a translator. We have a couple episodes in Spanish. I'm trying to do more. We're just producing education, real estate, business practices. I've talked to a couple. Like, one thing I like about my podcast is like it's not just real estate people; it's just business people that do good business. So I've talked to a couple of like chief marketing officers of Fortune, like big billion-dollar companies, and it's just learning different marketing techniques and strategies, negotiation strategies, being intentional, what your purpose is, hiring, like all this stuff that everybody you need to understand in business. That's what I kind of bring out in different things. Airbnb host, I mean, you name it. I had a couple different people on it. But it's just one thing. One thing I like about my podcast is I'm very intentional of who I bring on. So one of the big things about my podcast is there's a lot of my episodes are my clients. And the reason why I do that is because I want them to experience the power of podcasting and get that benefit of it, and to get their story out, because I like every individual has something that could teach me. I don't care what you've done or how long you've been doing it. Everybody has something to teach me. There's some type of experience or path you've taken down in your life that I can learn from. And you don't have to be a billionaire to tell me something I can learn from. So I really like interviewing my clients, because I kind of put them on a pedestal with my other high level guests, and it makes them come to light, and they get deals from it too. So that's the other cool thing.
You know what I love about podcasting? I love the fact that I ask questions and I could find out what someone's really, really passionate about. You should see your face when I asked you about podcasting, you started talking. You just started going in. I'm like, yeah. When you said passion project, I'm like, I could tell. It's so, man, it's just so interesting. I feel that literally the same way. And you said when you invite guests, man, that's literally my strategy. I invite people that are smarter, more successful. I was talking about this earlier. So I can pick your brain, man. I can learn some things. And as you said, you can learn from everybody. And going back to a question I asked you earlier, how do you market in 2022? This is another way of marketing, right? Podcasting, your networking, creating content. As you said, SEO, credibility too. It gives you a lot of credibility for sure, because people get to hear you, they get to see you, and they get to dive into the sauce, man. This is just so good right now. I'm loving this. I got to use that strategy about this podcast, about like kind of like ramping up. I like how you reached out to Bigger Pockets. I'm a huge fan of Bigger Pockets. I listen to that podcast all day, every day. And there's always something going on in that show, on their show, that I could always learn and just apply. And not just things that are tied to real estate, things outside of that too. So that's a really exciting part. Man, I'm trying to figure out where I go from here. So I want to ask you, what are your intentions, like being on a podcast show like this show? Like, what are your intentions when you appear on podcast shows and you dive into your story? What do you want people to know about you, the person, before the brand?
It's not even about me, honestly. Like, I every time you do a podcast, I like the varying conversations, because everybody's going to ask different questions, because based off of their curiosities or their questions in general, like, or their niche. So like, I've hopped on different podcasts and they ask me nothing about real estate. I'm perfectly fine with that, because one thing about podcasting is you get to exercise yourself and you get to have normal conversations, just like, and everybody can watch. That's the beauty of it. So podcasting, it really opens people up to who you are as an individual, and you can't hide that. I can't script this question and give you an answer if I'm coached. It's one of those things, like, this is free flowing. This is me. It's me. There's no hiding that. So when I come onto the podcast, it's more just educating the people, because a lot of people that they hear certain things, but they might not be ready to hear it. That's the thing. So there's different levels of hearing, and it's based off of your discernibility and what you can actually see. So this conversation, if you're maybe just coming into the business, maybe way over your head, and that's fine. But as you learn and experience more of the education, you come back to this and listen, and you'll hear something you didn't necessarily understand the first time you heard it. And that's the power of like podcasting and books. The power of all that stuff is that the more you consume it, or more of it, the more you might understand and catch. Like, I talked to another like longtime business owner, and like, we're talking about like employees, hiring, finding good employees. Like, we're talking about that. Like, if you have no employees, it's not going to make sense to you. It's just not, because you never hired anybody. So for me, it's just like, you got to consume over and over again, because it's gonna stick in different ways the more you do it. So like, if you're listening to this, if you're listening to the episode and it's over your head, that's perfectly fine. Continue to listen, because one day it's gonna stick, and you're like, man, I heard Daniel say that, I heard Yahavi say that. It makes sense now. And that's the power. That's the power, man.
It's so funny you say this, because I literally said this earlier this morning. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Like, I hear everything you just said, right? I could interview you, pay full on 1,000% attention, but I'm listening as the host, right? When I go back and I listen to this once it goes public, I'm listening as a listener. So like, my ears are open, I'm hearing things differently, and I'm pretty sure I asked you a question that kind of went over my head. That's natural, but when I go back and I listen to it, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, man, I gotta jot that one down. Like, that's really good. But it man, dog, you got me over here cheesing, man, because this is good stuff. Like, this is what people need to hear. But how this ties to real estate, when you're, like, say for example, you're making these cold calls, you're talking to sellers over the phone, there's definitely a difference in active listening, right? Are you listening to actually listen, or are you just listening to respond? So if someone's saying, hey, I have this distressed property, it's going into foreclosure, all you hear is assignment fee, right? Or something like that.
Motivated seller, ding, ding, ding.
Exactly, but you're not hearing, like, how did they get to this point? And if you could provide that solution, I believe you said something earlier about subject to, for example, the right solution to provide. The saying, a good listener is a good speaker. So it's like, I feel personally, this is just my opinion in real estate. Whenever you're talking to the sellers, I always say this: if they're talking more than you, that is a really good sign. If they're just venting to you like you're the therapist, that is a really good sign. Then you could take that, reiterate it, and serve it to them on a gold platter because that's your cheat sheet. They gave you the answers. All you have to do is hit every single bulletin point, and you will get where you need to be. I just find that really intriguing. Man, that's really good stuff, man.
The other part is being human, man.
That
We've had conversation with clients, and we might hey, your birthday's coming up, get them a birthday card. If somebody passed away or something happened, send them flowers. It's being human and understanding the pain and not seeing them as all dollar signs, because everybody comes down to it. They're all individuals. They all have pains. They all have weaknesses, and it's just understanding that they're human. I mean, if the power of listening and understanding what the conversation is about, if they tell you a pain point, hey, my birthday's coming up, my anniversary's coming up, and it's just been a hard time. You know what? Come back the next time, bring them some chocolate or something. I don't know. Just separate yourself from everybody else, and you'll get a lot further in a way, as far as internally, as far as providing good things, and externally, because they might do the deal with you just because you were actually vulnerable and understood what they're saying.
very good point. So, on that same point, great question for you. Outside of work and being professional, running a business, what does your downtime consist of? Like, outside of working, what do you do to make yourself feel human?
I've been golfing. And I spend a lot of time with the family, man. A lot of people, they get lost in the space of making money, and it's not really about the money. It's what you do with the freedom that money gives you. So money isn't really my motivator. It's more of the freedom. I don't care what I have in the bank account. It's more of the freedom I get to use with it. So like this year's been crazy. I've been traveling like once a month for like the past 6 months, and it's just been busy. I've taken my wife and kids with me. Sometimes we're going on a family vacation, and it's just having the time freedom to kind of do whatever you want, and not necessarily having to have a big money goal. The money's going to be there if you're doing the right things for the right people, but having the time freedom to do whatever you want and just exercise your freedom and family. And that was the biggest reason. Like, I never mentioned this, but when I started my 9 to 5, my biggest driving force to start entrepreneurship was my kid, my firstborn. So my wife was pregnant. I was trucking at the time, and my wife was pregnant. She's like, I'm pregnant, and I'm like, oh shit. And being a father forces you to grow. So I'm like, let's do this now, because I'm like, there's no right time to start entrepreneurship. I'll say that a million times to the day I die. There's no right time. It's just, you gotta do it now. So I literally worked my ass off for 9 months. I took 2-week vacation because I had it built up, because I literally worked like 6 days a week for 9 months. Stacked up all this money. Took a 2-week vacation. It was right during the holidays. I had like Christmas and New Year's plus my 2-week vacation. Took a 3-month paternity leave and never went back. And that's how I got into business. And that's my daughter turns 5 this year.
That's blessings on blessings, man. All I heard was golf, and I was just like, what? You golf, man? Like, you golf? Wait, that's first things first. Dad to dad, man. That is, I if that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will, right? So, man, that's an incredible blessing. I want to ask you, when you were, I don't know, kind of like reiterate this. I don't know. This is kind of a good question. Did you become, in a way, who you needed when you were younger, or did you envision yourself doing this line of work, or was there something else that you wanted to do when you were a kid?
Man, I was a lost child. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and that's the beauty of getting older. You don't know what path you're gonna take and how you're gonna get there. A lot of the steps I've taken were just to do better and make better decisions, and I kind of ended up down this road. I still don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm still young. I'm 30. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do in 5 years. Like, everybody's like, "What's your 5-year goal?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know. I'm living today, man."
Yeah.
I'm living today. I don't know what I didn't expect to be in real estate. That wasn't my goal. I just ended up that way because I was in business and trying to make money another way. That's how I ended up in real estate. So I'm just going, man. It's there's no set path that I'm destination that I'm going. I mean, the biggest thing I wanted to hit was having time freedom to spend time with my family. I've hit that. So like, what else do you do after that? You just keep going.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. Man, there was just a lot of good in this interview, man. A lot of good silver lining. What would you say, summing up this episode, what would you say is the biggest takeaway you want listeners to take away from this episode, hearing your story, listening to your background story and everything that you have going on? What is the takeaway message for the listeners for you?
Be intentional. Don't waste your time. A lot of people, they think they're working hard, but they're not. there was a time where like I've been like I talked to one of my clients. Like I've been trying to get my first deal for 2 months, and I'm like, you know how long it took me to get my first deal? It was on the 7th month. It took me to get my first deal. So you gotta be, and I locked up a bunch of properties, a bunch of them fell through. I didn't get my first closed deal until 7 months in after starting. And I'm like, you got 5 more months to go. Then you can talk to me. Cause I mean, I've done more work than you did to get started. So like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear those excuses because I went through the hard road. Like I've already been down the hard path. If you haven't gone further than me, I can't help you because you just got to do the work when it comes down to it. So it's just being intentional. A lot of people think they're working hard, but they're not really working. Um, and making sure you capitalize your time that you do use. A lot of what I do right now is this because I'm very intentional with setting aside time to do this every day. Like I almost do like an interview a day. That's what it feels like. Whether
Yeah.
I'm hosting or I'm guesting, I'm doing an interview a day. And the last few months have been crazy. I was doing like 2 to 3 a day in some fashion, whether I was hosting or guesting. And that's just being intentional on what I wanted to do. So like this whole podcasting thing, it's being intentional, providing the content, providing the value any way you see fit, and having just conversations that aren't the same. That's been always my goal. It's just having conversations that aren't the same.
Man, this was awesome. All right, yo, Daniel, please do everyone a favor. Shout out your social media, your website, and your podcast. Where can we follow you, keep up, and subscribe to everything you got going on?
So we have a dollar course. You can actually text us at 210-972-1842. Just text the keyword course, and it's literally $1. I'll send you a link, all automation. That's using Hivemind. If you want to learn more about our product and service, we're literally on every platform you can think of. Just search Hivemind CRM. We try and drive everybody to the Facebook group. We have a private Facebook group with like 2,200 people, almost 2,300 people right now. And it's just networking, man. One of the cool things about that I never even mentioned about Hivemind is the community, man. We have an awesome community nationwide that people are just helping out each other do deals. Like we literally, not one of my clients. I had 7 clients get paid on one deal last month, just by networking through the group. And the community side is definitely a hack. There's stuff that I struggled with early on because you don't know. And community is definitely a hack to learn and do better more everywhere. So get a part of community, find a group you like, resonate with them, talk to them, network, and just participate. If you're a fly on the wall, you're never going to participate. You're never going to get anywhere because this whole thing is networking. We're having an event in Fort Lauderdale this year, August 25th and 26th. You can get those tickets at hivelive.com/summit. We do an annual event for all our clients. Two of my clients met there. One of them just quit his job, and he met his money partner there. And now, like, one was the money partner, and he was like the systems partner. So they both ended up meeting at my event, and now they do real estate in like 20 states now.
Yeah, man, I love hearing stories like that.
And they met at my event, man. It's pretty cool. So,
man, I love hearing that. I love hearing stories like that. That is amazing. Again, some way, somehow, we are all connected. We are all connected, and that's literally living proof right there. Man, this was really good. For the listeners, I want to thank you for listening. watching, however you're listening or consuming this content. This was a real treat. I enjoyed recording this. I enjoyed talking to Daniel. Daniel, I want to thank you again for spending your time on the pod today. This was really fun. I'm really excited, more so about Hivemind and going forward. I got to get into that group. I got to definitely plug myself in. You know me, I got to plug myself in. I got to plug myself into your community because, man, this was just really, really good. Like I always say, what good is information if you don't apply it? Like Daniel said, be intentional. Be intentional. Stream, subscribe to the St. Clair Speak Show podcast. I will catch you in the next episode. I'm out. Peace.